I'm going to digress here for a moment and have a couple seconds of levity, if you will. Always try to get the genuine Minneapolis MOLINE, or if it's a Farmall, the Farmall manuals. This is just, it says repair catalog, but it's actually the parts catalog, but it really breaks it down nicely. I also have the ever worthless IT manual, and it's so generic, you know, it covers a lot of different models, but I'm going to just read the one paragraph that covers what I have been talking about here. It's a paragraph right here, and it reads as follows. The procedure for removing the oil seal is evident after removing the axle shaft bearing. Removal of the bearing cap can be accomplished after removing the wheel and tire unit and the wheel hub. Now, isn't that a real big help? Pardon the sarcasm. We'll be back to the real work here in the next episode. Okay, now we turn our attention to getting this bearing and sleeve off of here. And I've already put a rather massive puller on here using my 3/4 drive breaker bar and a 2-foot cheater bar, and it doesn't even begin to budge. And that's the way it was on the other side. I think all of this would get broken or busted or something before that would come off, because I believe these are shrunk fit on at the factory. And so now we're going to go for reinforcements. Yeah, you got it. Okay, we're going to use a number 4 or 5 tip, and we don't want to get this thing red. We just want to get it hot, clear around, maybe in the 500 or 600 degree range. Okay, I heard it pop. I just turned the torch off. And can you hear that popping? She's starting to come. I've lubricated it. Also, I cut the cage and removed the rollers and the cage off of the roller bearing and slit that part of the bearing because it wouldn't come. That gave me less that I had to pull. And she's coming off now. It's still pretty hot, so I can't touch it. I'm going to go ahead and continue to lubricate this. Now I'm going to put the air wrench on here and spin this off. By the way, lest ye think I'm careless, I have this big CO2 fire extinguisher sitting right there. Also, I got a little bit of a shield there on the axle protecting the oil so nothing gets in there where the oil is. That oil can was not there a few minutes ago. Now this is where the bearing and the sleeve was, right in here. That'll all be cleaned up very, very good with emery cloth. All the way out for that matter, so it slides on and off real easy, because we're going to shrink fit that on here in a couple of days. And here's the culprits here, the sleeve, and that's what's left of the bearing, and you can see where I slit it to get it off. And you probably will have to do that too. It's just, I spent well over an hour on that, just in case you think this was a snap, even with the torch. I'm in my basement workshop now, and I've chucked up that pesky sleeve. And I'm going to polish it both inside and out. Now when you heat that up, make sure you don't get too close with the torch and melt it, because it'll be ruined. We want it as smooth as possible. There are some grooves in there that are caused by wear over the years, so we're going to clean it up inside and out. This bevel here is to help you to put the seal on, so the seal will get started. This is hardened. It's hard steel. You will not be able to buy any of these, so don't ruin it when you take it off. You would have to have a machine shop make them for you. I'm very doubtful you would be able to find these anyplace, even in the whole country. So I'm going to clean that up now, and then I'm going to clean that axle and get on with it here. Alright, I got the bearings and the seals finally. This is the Timken 395 cone. That was $33. This is the Timken 394A cup. That was about 20 bucks. And then I bought two of the National 417 344 seals, and they are about $16 each. Remember, I'm going to use two of those instead of one big one, and I'm not able to find that mangled one. So you don't have to use two, but I'm using two simply because I'm a safety man and I wear both suspenders and a belt. We've got everything assembled now, and the first thing we're going to do is install the two seals into this bearing housing. The seals have to go in first, and remember that when we install those, they're going to go in trademark down, or open side, spring side will be up or facing the oil to prevent the leakage. I suppose you can drive the seals in, but make sure that you prepare a piece of wood or something if you're going to drive them. Don't just drive them in with a punch and a hammer, because you're liable to bend them. I like to draw them in or press them in, and in some controlled way. And what I've done here to do this is I'm going to draw them in. I cut this disc of, it's about 1/4 inch steel, and that's just the size that I need. And then I'm taking this piece of 3/8 steel with a 1/2 inch hole in it. Notice that I put a little circle on there, and that's going to go in the vise on this 1/2 inch bolt. Now I can put the bearing housing on there and kind of line it up with a red mark that I had around there. Then I know that I'm centered. I'm going to put the first seal in like that. I'm going to oil it though, and this on top of it, and then some washers and a nut, and I'm going to draw it down in there. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, I'm all set up here with my ratchet and my socket, and I'm drawing the first seal down into the housing. And when I come to the bottom, I will feel it bottom out. So this is a control thing, and there I felt that's as far as I can go. So I'm going to back off my my nut and bolt and everything here, and take that plate out, and I'm going to do the second one in a similar manner. I won't show that on camera. Now we're ready to install the bearing cup. Do not unwrap these until you're ready to install them. And we're going to oil this, and I've already oiled the inside of the housing. You can buy these bearings at any bearing house. They are not a Minneapolis MOLINE number, just a common bearing. Now that's ready to sit in there. Everything has been cleaned up in this housing, by the way. And we'll get that laying right in place. And then I made another plate that is the size of the bearing cup. It's not the same as the one I made for the seal. Now you need to take the time to do this. I know that's extra time, and some of you guys just want to hammer them in there, but if you're confident to do that, well, I guess go ahead. But I don't like to take a chance with these expensive bearings. So then I put a washer and a nut on there, and I'm ready to draw that in, just as I did with the seal. You will feel it draw in, and you'll feel it bottom out. And I'm not going to show that on camera because it takes a little bit too long.